Welcome to this week's Parents Weekend edition of Sports Mag with Jay Fly in action.
And then Bumstead Spike, volleyball takes on the Texas Longhorns.
And do not forget about women's soccer against Baylor in a cold, wintry afternoon.
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Mag. We have Family Weekend here. I'm Leslie Fox, sitting alongside Kevin Rash.
And we should get things started with Kansas Jayhawks, against our CU team in Lawrence this weekend. And we should cut right to those highlights.
Great show. Let's see it.
And there's the parachuter coming in for the Jayhawks, number 15th in the nation against the CU Buffaloes, 3-3, trying to right the ship. And let's see if Cody Hawkins can start us off early there. 4 receptions to Cody Crawford for 33 yards. They would score on that drive to put them up 7-0. The Buffs defense kept it close in the beginning until KU's offense, the ground game especially, started to turn it on with Jake Sharp, who rushed for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is his first there to tie the game at 7. And right before halftime, Cody Hawkins, I don't know what you're thinking, but do not run that ball in the back of the end zone. 9-7 Jayhawks. And the next possession, Kansas would go right down the field again. 3 consecutive passes from Todd Reesing to Dexter Fields and Desmond Briscoe. That set him up from first and goal here, 5 yards out. Reesing, a little alley-oop action to Briscoe for the TD, 16-7 Kansas. And
Rock, Chalk, Jayhawks.
hate that chant.
All right, back to the Buffs. It's the number 1, Josh Smith, go-to man. He returns this for 59 yards, vaulting over to 1,000 yards on the season. Then next, it's the surprise freshman sensation, Rodney Stewart, finished with 18 carries and 77 yards on the day. Then it's Jay Fly again with his specialty. He catches a 38-yard pass from Cody Hawkins landing at the 1-yard line. Then Cody sneaks into the end zone, one of his patented moves, pulling the Buffs within 2. The Buff fans you'll see are happy. Who knows what else we can do, though. But the story of missed opportunities continues. Kansas muffs the return by tripping over his own feet. Kansas recovers, of course, just the Buffs' luck. They capitalize on the next play. It puts them at the 5-yard line. Then Jake Sharp continues to run all over the Buffs. Replays show he was well short of the goal line. Nonetheless, Jayhawks go up 23-14.
He's looking for McDonald's right now.
He loves his job. Papa Hawk, on the other hand, finally decides to take his son out of the game, try his luck with redshirt freshman Matt Bollinger. No such luck. Bollinger sacked. Kansas keeps their lead, goes on to win 30-14.
Let's take a look at those stats. Cody Hawkins, as you see, 8 of 22, not a good stat.
Not have the game he needed to have.
And then Rodney Stewart, he's our only player right now. So, and
for some more in-depth analysis, we have Kate and Dylan on our double team set.
And so, why don't you guys take it away?
Welcome to Double Team. I'm Dylan Baumgart along with Kate Siegel. We're going to talk a little bit about the KU football game last weekend.
So it was in Lawrence, Kansas, and we played the ranked 16 Kansas Jayhawks, and it was not a very good game for us.
It was not a very good game. We struggled all along. We lost 30-14, which is not a very good score.
Right, and so this was our 10th consecutive loss against a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
And it was not a good game for Cody Hawkins either.
It was not. He was 8 for 22 for only 90 yards and 2 interceptions. Both the interceptions came in the red zone, which is tough to come back from on offense because your offense is moving the ball all the way down the field and it stalls inside the 20-yard line.
Right, so then he was replaced in the 4th quarter by Matt Ballinger, and this is the second game in a row that he has been replaced, so that's not good either.
Yeah, I don't think there's a quarterback controversy yet. The coaches have said that Cody's going to start again this weekend, so hopefully he can, play better this weekend.
Right, and speaking of offense, it wasn't a very good game for our offense either.
No, all around it was bad. We only had 233 yards of total offense compared to KU's 407. And our offense just never seemed to be in sync the entire game, which and they just struggled, you could tell.
Right, absolutely. And it didn't help that we have so many injuries on the field. Josh
Absolutely.
Smith, Daryl Scott, both of them in the family apparently have injuries, so that's no good.
Yeah, it's tough when Josh Smith goes down. You know, he's your big play guy. He second in the Big 12 in all-purpose yards right now, and when you need a big play, that's who they go to. Plus the fact that their offensive line is completely demoralized right now. They have 2 starters that are gone for the season, and they just don't seem to have any rhythm when they're out there playing.
Right, but we're hoping that Josh Smith will come back for the next game.
Yeah, he's supposed to be back. So,
right, so
yeah.
that's good. That's
Absolutely.
definitely what we need.
Yeah.
And then our defense didn't have a very fabulous game either. We're ranked 8th in the Big 12 in sacks, so that's not very good.
Yeah, Ryan Walters led us with 12 tackles, but like you said, it started up front for us. Our defensive line just could not get pressure on Todd Reese in the entire game. He was able to sit in the pocket and pretty much pick apart our defensive secondary. You know, we have George Hippolyte up there, but when they double-team him, nobody else is able to get pressure on the quarterback.
Right, so we definitely need to work on our defense for our next game coming up this weekend.
Absolutely.
Against KSU. So this is a pretty big game. It's going to be here. It's a home game at 5 o'clock on Saturday night. So KSU is 4-2 overall and 11th in the Big 12.
Right. They just won the first Big 12 game last weekend against Texas A&M, 44-30, and KSU is pretty much their offense. They're ranked 8th nationally. They're averaging 43.3 points per game, which is awesome, compared to CU, who's just averaging 22.5 points per game.
Right, and we're ranked 81st nationally,
which
is not very good.
Not at all.
We definitely need to step it up on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And so let's talk about KSU's defense for a minute.
I think there is hope for CU's offense this weekend. KSU has given up 29.8 points per game. That's 11th in the Big 12. They're also 11th in the Big 12 in rush defense, 10th in pass defense, and last in total defense. So hopefully our offense can step it up, you know, try to establish a running game early, get Cody in a rhythm, and hopefully that can carry throughout the rest of the game.
Right. So let's talk about who to look out for. Okay. We have their quarterback, Josh Freeman, who is a phenomenal player.
He really is. Their offense starts and stops with him. Last week he was named the USA Today Offensive Player of the Week. He threw for 329 yards, rushed for 95 yards, and had 4 touchdowns on the ground against Texas A&M last week.
Right, and in his career, he's also been a great player. He is a junior, and he is just 1 touchdown shy of tying the school record, which is great. And also, he's thrown at least 1 touchdown in 16 out of the 17 games he's played. So that's really good.
Yeah, it really is. Plus, he's having a phenomenal season. He's accounted for 24 touchdowns for KSU this year, including 12 on the ground, which for a quarterback for 12 rushing touchdowns in 6 games is just amazing. He's having a great season.
Right. So we're looking forward to the game this weekend, and we hope to see you all there. So let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's always interesting to have another side of the story to the football game.
Yeah, especially after last week. 3-3, we got to right the ship soon against K-State this weekend.
Definitely. Everyone's looking forward to that game. Colorado Athletic Hall of Fame will be inducting its 7th class this Friday evening. Former will make up the class of 2008, and they will join 28 other individuals who have been honored before them. A selection from this year's class includes Frank Clark and Billy Lewis, who are CU's first African Americans on the football and basketball team, respectively. Both All-Americans who remain 2 of CU's most prolific football. Dave Logan and John Stairs, both All-Americans, who remain 2 of CU's most prolific athletes. And finally, Alfred Williams, a former Dip Buckets Award, was recognized at the university. The ceremony will take place tonight at 7 in the Omni Interlaken Hotel in Broomfield and is free and open to the public. And now we'll see you back after the break. University of Colorado's Hall of Fame was not established until 1998 in order to recognize outstanding student athletes. That brings us to this week's trivia question. Who was the first athlete inducted into CU's Hall of Fame? We'll have the answer back with an answer later in the show.
The University of Colorado women's volleyball team put up a good fight against Texas last Saturday, but unfortunately a good fight wasn't enough. Though Coach PIIU was pleased with the team's performance, number 3 Texas simply had a better night. Emily Cisco led the bus with 18 kills, followed by Amber Sutherland's 15 kills. With this loss, Colorado falls to 9-7 overall and 3-4 in the Big 12. The CU women's volleyball team lost its second straight match Wednesday against the Oklahoma Sooners. The loss dropped the bus to 9-8 overall and, more importantly, 3-5 in Big 12 play. CU standout Alex Booth had a team-high 11 kills in the match, while fellow teammate Alex Venhorst led the team with 10 digs in the loss. CU will resume conference play this Saturday at 1 o'clock versus Iowa State.
Ski season has begun, basketball season is just around the corner, and CU football has hit the mid-season mark. We wanted to see what our students had to say about our football season so far. Let's take it to our man on the street, Kai Cummings.
As the weather gets colder, the CU football season is heating up, and we took to the streets this week to see who the fans think is most impressive.
I think Rodney Stewart, personally.
I'd agree, Rodney Stewart. Speedy Stewart, he's got the quickness, can cut through those holes.
He hits the hole hard, comes
He's
through
hard to
quick.
catch.
I also like watching Daryl Scott just because he was the number 1 prospect coming out, but I don't know, Rodney Stewart's coming up in the surprise back.
Rodney Stewart.
I don't know who the players are. Daryl Scott is probably the most exciting player to watch just because he's so young, and since he was like the number 1 recruit or whatever, and that like his uncle's on the team too or whatever, it's really cool.
Chance of making the NFL. Yeah. I'll say George Hippolyte.
Maybe Daryl or Rodney Stewart, the other running back, I think would have a good shot.
I think Ryan Miller.
Yeah,
Ryan Miller, the offensive guard.
He's definitely big enough and is
Strong
still
enough.
played as a true freshman, and now
As a sophomore, still dominating.
Yeah.
I think he can definitely make it.
he stays healthy. He's building a strong career.
Probably either Daryl Scott or Josh Smith because they're pretty good, but they're still young.
Including football, there are 9 Division I sports here at CU. Could the fans name them?
Basketball, soccer, football, hockey?
No.
It's football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, cross country, skiing, track and field. We're at 7.
Yep.
Tennis and golf.
It seems like the students here at CU have a very good grasp about their football team and Division I sports. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Kai Cummings.
The women's tennis team traveled to Salt Lake City this past week to compete in the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Central Regional Tournament. Mouthful. So far, Francisca Gendrian has been CU's standout player, as she has been named the 8th seed in a field of 64. Gendrian is accompanied by fellow senior teammate Monica Maluski and juniors Camila Velassi and Melissa Esposito. The doubles and singles winners from this tournament will advance to the ITA National Indoor Championships at the University of Virginia in November.
The CU men's cross-country team held on to its number 3 ranking in the latest nationwide poll, trailing only Oregon and Oklahoma State, respectively. The women's team, however, dropped out of the poll after being ranked 30th last week. In this week's Mountain Region rankings, the men's team is 1st, while the women's team is 5th.
And coming up after the break, we have Athlete of the Week and women's soccer.
And the trivia answer.
The 22-ranked Colorado women's soccer team travels to Nebraska this Friday after defeating the Baylor Bears in an easy shutout last Saturday. Through the first half, the Buffs dominated, as the Bears rarely crossed the half line. However, after Gianna Di Severio scored their first goal within the first 4 minutes, CU had a problem finding the back of the goal in the remainder of the first half. But they would bounce back in the second half, scoring 3 goals to make the score 4-0.
The soccer team's Kelly Mekanoff is this week's Sports Mag Athlete of the Week, after scoring 2 goals against Baylor and being named the Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. We caught up with Kelly to ask her about her and the team's success this season.
It just speaks volumes about our team. Our team isn't about, one single player or 2 players individually. Everyone on the team makes a huge difference and plays a huge role. It's like it really is a team effort every single game. I don't really know what the team has done this year to make it so different, but there's just something different about our chemistry on and off the field. You have a group of 25 girls. Everyone's not going to love each other, but this team, everybody really does seem to genuinely like each other and get along. It's like no team I've ever been on, and it's really exciting, really fun to be a part of. Well, Nebraska, we know, is just always has been and always will be just a really hard-working program. Not dirty by any means, but just physical and going to pressure us every time we get the ball. So it's going to be really important for us not to get flustered by that and just keep the ball on the ground. It's always hard to play on the road, but if we can come away with 2 wins this weekend, we'll be in good shape. So we're excited. I'm Kelly Menikoff, CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
There's a buzz this week around Nikki Keller. The senior soccer stud stampeded her way onto the elite team of the week for Soccer Buzz magazine. Keller was picked for the honor out of 5,000 Division I soccer players. Last weekend, she was a key part in the Buffs' 1-0 upset over Texas, assisting Nikki Marshall's goal. And so far this season, Keller has scored 5 goals of her own.
Senior Derek Tolan continues to lead the Buffs golf team at this week's 9th annual Prestige Tournament. Despite raging wind and cold temperatures, Tolan is 9 strokes behind the leader, but could easily finish in the top 5. The team sits in 10th place after a tough round on Monday morning. Texas Christian is currently leading the tournament. The team is battling the elements in La Quinta until Tuesday.
Head coaches play a huge role in every sport, but the CU Club softball team is proving they can get through their season without one. News Team's Jessica Hutchins shows us how.
The CU softball team is managing a tough transition this fall 2008 season, coaching themselves. When their previous coach announced his retirement, the Colorado Softball Club chose not to employ a new coach for the first time since the club was founded in 1985. Now the players have complete control over the team. A 3-year veteran of the team, Carolyn Chin, chose to take on the title of head coach while also keeping the job of being president of the club and being a key player.
And it turns out it's just a huge job that I had not anticipated to have so many duties, and therefore I'm relying so much on my fellow officers as well as all the girls on the team to get everything done.
While Carolyn is responsible for making practice outlines 3 days a week, deciding strategy and lineups for each game, and leading the team to execute each task, there is also a lot of clerical work that needs to be done.
And then we also have to deal with all of the just managerial duties such as getting dues money in, bag letters, all those responsibilities, making sure people are at practice, taking attendance, filling out participation reports. It's a lot of stuff.
Carolyn can't do it all on her own, so she delegates other duties to other players on the team. So far, the players have been in favor for the new coaching arrangement.
I like it because we still have a practice plan, but then we have input into what we need to work on. So if one day we need to work on hitting more than fielding, we can have say into what we really want to do.
The team hasn't seen any struggle yet, but Carolyn fears that the hostility often felt for coaches might be felt towards her.
So it's really hard. It's definitely a different point of view in the sense that you're one of the players and you also want to be everybody's friend. You know, you're not the person so much that everyone can just hate, and that's fine because they're the coach.
Fortunately, everyone on the team supports the new leadership.
They were just happy to play on the team, and the older girls have been playing club softball for a long time, so they know what they're doing. We trust them. I'm really glad though that we are doing the soft coach thing because last year when we had a coach, I didn't really feel that the team belonged to us.
I'm here outside the Carlson Gymnasium where the softball team practices every Tuesday and Thursday nights. And not only do they manage to put on effective practices without a coach, they do so by training for an outdoor sport inside a very small dance studio in the basement of this building. The team has very little room to spread out, and practicing in such tight quarters has its own setbacks. That's $900 that could have gone to new equipment or travel expenses. With all their unity and hard work, no spilt milk or lack of a coach could break this team apart.
1, 2, 3,
The team's games against Wyoming were rained out last Sunday, but the girls are now preparing to face DU this Saturday at noon and 2 on the fields at Mapleton.
So now it's finally the time you've all been waiting for. The answer to this week's trivia question. We asked, who was the first athlete inducted into CU's Hall of Fame? And the answer is Brian Whizzer White. White was a halfback on the Buffalo's football team from 1934 to 1937, graduated to later become a U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Pretty interesting, actually.
I did not know that answer to that question. But coming up after the break, we have dodgeball package, intramural dodgeball.
And we also have some weather coming up, so everyone can be prepared for the game this weekend.
Stick with us. While the CU football team fights for a shot to win the Big 12, another group of Buffs are laying all on the line for a T-shirt. And trust me, anyone in this game doesn't come easy.
Dodgeball.
It's just one of the many intramural sports where athletes can get competitive without the time commitment of a club or varsity team.
Sounded like a good time, know a couple people playing, so I had to jump at the opportunity.
The game works a little like this. 2 teams line up on opposite sides of each other, 3 balls each, and when the game starts, well, you better be ready to dodge.
Dodgeball is fun because you can take out aggression on people in an intramural environment.
Now these athletes aren't playing for school recognition or even a state title, rather a t-shirt. But don't let that fool you. These games can still get pretty intense.
It does get really intense. We've had to almost break up a couple fights earlier this year. People are just competitive by nature. Like, I know I'm a competitive guy. When, the competition's going on, people get intense.
Since my team was in the playoffs, I decided to get back in the game. It didn't take long for me to remember how competitive things can get when a t-shirt, maybe even something as simple as this, is on the line. Whether you're in it for a t-shirt or just a good time, just remember, duck.
Now, if you still want to put yourself in the line of fire, dodgeball will start up again in the spring. I think I recognized a couple of those players.
Definitely.
From.
I think I saw you in there.
Oh, okay. And anyways, we got Kylie with the weather coming up right now.
Yeah, I know everyone's curious to see what this weekend has in store for us. Thanks, guys. As you all know, it is family weekend, so that means there's going to be a lot of families here from out of town, out of state, looking to come, enjoy the beautiful Colorado scenery, and go to a game. So I want to take a look at the weather and tell you what's coming up, and so you can be prepared. Taking a look at the national map, you can see here, Colorado is looking really clear. It's excellent. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, up here in the Oregon-Washington area, there's a cold front that might sneak down towards the end of the weekend, maybe Monday or Tuesday. Your family's planning on staying for the long weekend, staying through Monday, Tuesday range. I would recommend that they bring a little bit of extra cold wear. Specifically looking at the temperatures, you can see here in Colorado, we're the little bit of blue surrounded by the green and yellow, which means although we're in the 40s range, we're surrounded by 60s and 70s. And as you know, Colorado has 300 days of sunshine. That means the sun is going to be out there. With this clear day, it's going to be perfect. If you're from California, Arizona, southwestern range, I recommend telling your family to bring some extra sweatshirts, maybe even a heavy coat, because they're really not used to our weather. Taking a look specifically at our game day, Friday and Saturday, perfect. Can you imagine a better way to see a football game, especially at this time of the year? Folsom Stadium is going to look almost identical to this right here. It's probably going to be about 70s during the day. Once the game starts at 5 o'clock, sun's going down about 5:20ish. The temperature is going to drop to around 50s, maybe upper 40s range. So make sure that you are prepared. Take a look at the rest of the weekend right here. Sunday and Monday looking pretty good, but they are dipping down with that cold front that I talked about. Now, if you are looking to go to the game, I have a couple of recommended things that I would have you wear. As you can see, the CU hoodie, a personal favorite of just about everyone on campus, has the Colorado name, your sport in the wear. You can also flip up that hood, very functional. If that won't do it for you, keep in mind the hat right here, another good choice. My personal favorite, the foam finger. Functional and spirited. Make sure you bring another glove to wear on that other hand. Other than that, make sure you have a fun, safe weekend out there with your family. We'll send it back to the desk. Thanks a lot, Kylie. That's exciting news with the weather coming up. And as we all know, this weekend is family weekend, and if you're scrambling to find entertainment to keep your family happy, CU Sports Mag has the answer. Starting Friday night, CU's hockey team will take on Kansas at 7:30 in the Rec Center. Remind your family to bring a sweatshirt because the ice rink is known to be a little cold on the inside. Saturday, the 18th CU's volleyball is going to play Iowa State at 1 p.m. in the Coors Event Center. After the volleyball game, head over to Folsom Field to tailgate before the big Kansas game that's going to start at 5 p.m. This will be our third game in the Big 12, and you won't want to miss it.
If you happen to be in Indiana this weekend, make sure you stop by the Tier Hot to see the cross-country team compete in the NCAA Pre-Nationals. And on Sunday, women's soccer will be in Ames, Iowa to play Iowa State at noon. The tennis team also will be a little closer to home, though, in Salt Lake City for the ITA Central Regional Championships. That's all coming up this weekend, so, support your Buffs.
Yeah, it seems like a busy weekend. There's plenty to do for our parents in town.
5:10 is the game start.
Exactly.
Watch out for the parents, though. It could be crazy out there. They get in the way, so.
Everyone's looking forward to it. Thanks a lot for watching.